Greetings fellow humans, my name is Alistair Lord and I am the Renaissance Yorkshireman. Today I would like to talk to you about dry fasting. But before I get into the controversy of dry fasting, when I was thinking about the previous 3 videos that I made, I realised that I hadn't said anything about breaking a water fast. So before I get into my experience with dry fasting and my sources, I'll just say a little bit about breaking an extended water fast. Breaking a water fast. As I said in my previous video, I recommend 1-day fasts and 5 to 7 day fasts. That's what works for me. So breaking a 1-day water fast, you don't really need to worry too much about what you have. I mean, I have whatever I feel like that morning. I mean, usually I wake up and I'm ravenously hungry, and often I'll have some kind of fry-up, although usually I won't eat meat, although I'm not actually a vegetarian. But a 5, 6, 7 day water fast, you need to be a little bit more careful about what you put in your stomach, first of all, to break your fast. So what I like to start with is coconut oil. Now, coconut oil, vegan lard, I mean, it's pretty much 100% fat. So I'm of the opinion that, you know, if your body's been burning fat for like 6 or 7 days, the first thing that you eat should be high fat, and coconut oil is absolutely ideal. So I have a spoon or 2 or maybe 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, and then I leave it 15-20 minutes, and then either I have some scrambled egg, and scrambled eggs by themselves, not with any toast or anything, just scrambled egg, or I'll have an avocado salad. So in my case, mixed salad leaves, you know, rocket or whatever, avocado and extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar, but no tomatoes, nothing else, just the avocado and lettuce and the dressing. And then give it an hour, and then pretty much go for what you like, but don't have like a massively heavy meal. And also something that I haven't mentioned about fasting is I tend to do my fasting, I'm in a period where I'm not drinking any alcohol, so you wouldn't want to break a fast and then later that day go out on the piss, you know, and drink 10 pints or whatever. I mean, some people might do that, but I don't think it's very advisable. So I would tend to go with, you know, don't drink any alcohol for at least 2 or 3 days before and after an extended fast, but really, you know, take the month off drinking and do the fast during the month you're not drinking would be my advice. And that brings us to the controversy of dry fasting. So I'm going to start with a disclaimer, as I have on my previous fasting videos. I am not a medical doctor. I have no qualification in nutrition or diet. I'm someone who's done a certain amount of research and then experimented himself with water fasting and to a lesser extent with dry fasting. So there's 3 main sources that I've got my information from that are pro dry fasting. It will tell you about the protocols to use. 2 I've already mentioned in my previous video. So one is the Snake Juice guy, Cole Robinson, and the other is Shameen Miller. And both of them have a number of videos on dry fasting on their YouTube channels. So if you are thinking of dry fasting, and like I say, I do not recommend it, but if you're thinking of it, go and watch their videos. Also, another guy who I got a lot of information from is a guy called Ray Maor, and that's spelled M-A-O-R, and he's a breatharian. Now, I don't know that much about breatharians, but they claim that either they can live indefinitely with no food whatsoever, or they only eat once or twice a month. Now, whether you choose to believe these people about these claims or not is entirely up to you, but This is hardcore yogic practice when you're doing, 3.5 day dry fasts, 21 day water fasts. You've really got to know your stuff. Now, I haven't done this kind of thing and I don't recommend it. But if you want to if it's something that interests you, go and do your own research as a mentally well-balanced adult and draw your own conclusions, As far as I recall, when I was looking for information from medical doctors and dry fasting, I read a number of articles and I probably watched some videos. And as I remember, all of them said, don't dry fast. They were all saying, it's too dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're going to hedge their bets. They're in the medical profession. Now, people do dry fasting without long-term damage to themselves. However, if you've never fasted before, you don't want to then go and attempt to do a 3-day dry fast. That's a disastrous idea, really terrible idea. If you are going to dry fast, you've got to have done some water fasts first and kind of ease yourself into it. But like I say, it is potentially dangerous. So, these doctors who advise against it, they do have a point. If not done correctly, dry fasting can be dangerous and potentially you could die. So if you are thinking about doing it, do your proper research, and I am not legally responsible for your decision. There are 2 types of dry fast. There's the regular dry fast and there's the hard dry fast. In a hard dry fast, not only are you not drinking water or indeed any other liquid, but your skin, your whole body is not even coming into contact with any water. So on a hard dry fast, you're not taking a shower, you're not washing your face, you're not washing your hands, you're not gargling. Dry fasting is pretty hardcore in the first instance, and a hard dry fast is even more hardcore. When I dry fasted, I didn't take a shower because I was only fasting for 1 or 2 days. But I did wash my hands, I did wash my face, and I did gargle with water and I gargled with mouthwash as well, but I was spitting it out, I wasn't drinking any water. So my experience of dry fasting is not of a hard dry fast. Why would anyone want to do a dry fast? Well, there are many claimed benefits and there is some evidence for this. So obviously Muslims during Ramadan, as well as not eating during daylight hours, they're not drinking water. And they do this year in, year out. And okay, I dare say that some people have a problem with it, but most of them don't. And there's a certain amount of evidence that dry fasting is anti-inflammatory. The proponents of dry fasting make many claims of various health benefits of dry fasting. Go and research them yourself. In my own case, it's kind of like, I just like doing this kind of thing. I kind of came across water fasting, thought I'm going to give that a spin, see what it's like. I've never done it. I want to do it. And it was the same with dry fasting. I kind of thought, it obviously sounds more problematic and I need to be more careful and it's going to be much shorter. But I just thought I want to try to see what it's like. So I did. So I've dry fasted on exactly 3 occasions. And normally, when I wake up in the morning, within 20 minutes of getting up, I've drunk half a pint of water. So I'm normally rehydrating a lot during the day. But with my dry fasts, the first one was about 30 hours, the second one was 27 hours, and the third one was 48 hours. So in the case of the first one, I had my last drink of water at, I think, 10:30, 11 at night. The next day I woke up, got up, didn't drink any water. I gargled with mouthwash in the morning, but I didn't drink any water. I went the whole day without drinking water. I went to bed about 11 o'clock at night. I woke up the next morning about 5 o'clock. And after gargling with mouthwash, I broke my dry fast. I drank some water. The second time I dry fasted was basically the same, except I woke up about 2 or 3 in the morning instead of 5 in the morning. And, you know, I thought, well, I've done a whole 24-hour period. You know, I could go a bit longer, but I don't feel like it. I'm going to break my fast now. So it was slightly shorter than the first one. With the third one, I'd done a 2-day water fast to lead up to it, and I had a minimal caffeine intake on the first and second day of the water fast. So I think I'd had 2 cups of weak black tea. That was my only caffeine on day 1 and 2 of the water fast. Then day 3 and day 4 I dry fasted. So on the evening of day 2, I had my last drink of water around 10:30. Then I went to bed, got up the next day, didn't drink any water again all day, went to bed. The next day I didn't drink any water until I got to the evening, and then, you know, 10:30, 48 hours after I'd had my last glass of water, I gargled with mouthwash first, and then I had a glass of water, and then I had another glass of water, and then I had another glass of water. You know, as I remember, I probably drank a pint or 2 of water in the space of half an hour, because, you know, once you start drinking water when you've broken a dry fast, my experience is really you want to hydrate. So what was my experience like? Well, I remember the third dry fast quite well because it wasn't so long ago. I think it was about 6 months ago. And there's a few things I noticed. One is that actually it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. You know, I thought that I might feel absolutely awful. I didn't. I mean, I didn't feel great, and I didn't feel full of energy. I did a bit of walking and I did a bit of cycling, but the cycling was pretty mild. You know, I didn't go on a hardcore bike ride. And another thing that I noticed was I lost a lot of weight. I think I lost, in the 4 days, so the 2-day water fast followed by the 2-day dry fast, I think I lost about 3/4 stone. Now, the thing with dry fasting is when you're losing weight, it's water weight. So once you start drinking water again, you put that weight on very quickly. So I think I lost about 11 pounds, and within a day or 2, I'd put 7 or 8 pounds back on. So I did lose, you know, a few pounds in weight from not eating, but most of the weight I lost was water weight. And as I say, you put that back on very quickly. And the third thing that I noticed, which I thought was interesting, was that I didn't get any caffeine withdrawals. And in the past, when I've come off caffeine, I've always had some headaches. You know, it's just something that I've come to expect when I stopped drinking tea and coffee. But when I did the dry fast, I didn't have any headaches. Now, I'm assuming that that is some kind of side effect of the dry fast, but really I don't know. You know, it could be something else. I simply don't know. So that's my experience of dry fasting. I did it because I felt like doing it, because I'm that kind of person. But seriously, if you are thinking about dry fasting, really, really do your research and make sure that there are people around you. Because if you do it when you're on your own and you have some serious problem and you collapse, you could die. And, you know, we don't want that. But as I say, I'm not a medical doctor. I have no legal obligation for any decisions that you may or may not make. If you're considering it, appraise yourself of all the evidence, because it's not the safest thing to do on planet Earth. There are risks associated with it. So a good sense of risk analysis is extremely important if you're considering dry fasting. Thank you for giving me your time today. Peace.